guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Takes One to Know One and we're on part 3 of the poem selection, School Trip. On our school trip to Scarborough, we got to school on time, but the coach was caught in traffic and arrived at 9:30. Miss Phipps, our teacher, was so cross, left standing in the rain, and when the coach pulled up at last, she didn't half complain. The driver started shouting. He said there'd been a queue, but Miss Phipps, she said, there's no excuse, and started shouting too. On our school trip to Scarborough, the sky turned cold and grey. Freezing winds blew down the beach, and it rained and rained all day. Then Sharon slipped on a slimy rock. Gordon grazed his knee. Colin fell off the castle wall, and John jumped in the sea. Then our teacher started shouting, and her voice was loud and high, and soon we were surrounded by a crowd of passers-by. I'm sorry if you can hear my dogs barking. On our school trip to Scarborough, there was really quite a do, when Hazel's hat blew out to sea, and Simon lost his shoe. David dropped his flask of soup, which rolled right off the pier, and landed on the Coast Guard, who happened to be near. Then the Coast Guard started shouting when it hit him with a thwack, and when David said, "I'm sorry, mate, could you pass my thermos back?" On our school trip to Scarborough, we all ate tons and tons of sticky rock and sandwiches and jellied eels and buns. And when the coach left Scarborough, Sam was sick on Chris, and Chris was sick on Wayne and Paul, and they were sick on Miss. Then everyone was shouting, all the children and Miss Phipps, until Jason asked the driver, "Can we stop for fish and chips?" On our school trip to Scarborough, it wasn't that much fun. Nothing really happened, and we never saw the sun. We couldn't do a lot of things because of all the rain, but if I had the chance next year, I'd love to go again. Interrogation in the nursery. Infant, what's that? Inspector, what? Infant, that on your face. Inspector, it's a moustache. Infant, what does it do? Inspector, it doesn't do anything. Infant, oh. Inspector, it just sits there on my lip. Infant, does it go up your nose? Inspector, no. Infant, could I stroke it? Inspector, no. Infant, is it alive? Inspector, no. Infant, can I have one? Inspector, no. Little girls don't have moustaches. Infant, why? Inspector, well, they just don't. Infant, can I have one when I grow up? Inspector, no, ladies don't have moustaches either. Infant, well, my granny's got one. Christmas lights. The lights on the Christmas tree winked, and the snow fell thick and heavy outside. From the walls of the school hall, angels spread their silver wings, and the three kings held high their gifts. The lights dimmed and silence fell. Mums and dads, grannies and grandpas stared at the stage expectantly for the Christmas story to begin. A spotlight flooded the stage, and a small child entered. Wide-eyed, she stared at the sea of smiling faces before her. "Welcome," she whispered, to our... Then she froze, like a frightened rabbit, caught in the headlight's glare. "To our nativity," came the teacher's hushed voice off stage. "To our..." began the child again. "To our nativity," repeated the teacher. "Harvest Festival," announced the child. Too clever by half. I'm so very good at everything. I really am the best. Brilliant at number work. The top in every test. My English book's outstanding. I'm much better than the rest. Oh, I really am a very clever girl. I am extremely musical. My voice is quite sublime. I sing sweeter than the nightingale. No voice compares to mine. I play the cello beautifully. I really sound divine. Oh, I am a very clever girl. I'm particularly sporty and excel in every game. Netball, hockey, badminton, to me they're all the same. And if the team I play with loses, well, I'm certainly not to blame. Oh, I am a very clever girl. I'm very pretty child, a little English rose, with long blonde curls and large blue eyes and a little button nose. My face and hands are always clean, and so are all my clothes. Oh, I really am a very clever girl. I therefore find it rather strange that no one plays with me. Nobody ever telephones or asks me round for tea. I don't have any friends at all. Now, why ever should that be? Because I am a really very clever girl. Holiday to remember. The highlight of the holiday, well, it certainly was for me, was when we went to Waterworld at Wilmington-on-Sea. We swam and splashed in the salt sea pool and went on every ride. But the best part of the holiday was when Grandma blocked the slide. The cosmic whirl at Waterworld is really, really high. It twists and turns like a slippery snake and reaches to the sky. Well, Grandma thought she'd try it, and she clambered to the top. Then she started sliding really fast. We thought she'd never stop. But the cosmic whirl was narrow, and Grandma's pretty wide. And soon she started slowing down, and then she blocked the slide. She wriggled and jiggled, and she struggled to be free. But Gran was stuck in the cosmic whirl at Wilmington-on-Sea. The man who was behind her, like a bullet from a gun, set off down at such speed and crashed into my Gran. She flung herself around him. The poor man was garroted. Then their arms and legs got tangled up, and their bodies, they were all knotted. There were screams and yelps and howls for helps, as they tumbled down and down. And soon a crowd of swimmers had gathered all around. Then Grandad, who was watching, turned to speak to me and Mum. "Just take a look at Gran," he laughed. "She's certainly having fun." The lifeguard blew his whistle and shouted from the side, "You two, out the water now. No messing down that slide." My Monstrous Bear. When I was small, my father would pretend to be a monstrous bear. He'd crawl about the floor on all fours, and his great ferocious eyes, he would stare and glare, searching for me. He'd roar and growl and grunt, and I would hide behind the chair, and squeal and squirm, and feel the hair on my head stand up. Excited in my fear, he'd pretend not to see me, and lumber off and curl up on the rug and snore and snore. I would creep so quietly and snuggle up down between the great warm paws. My monstrous bear would hold me tightly, keeping me from harm. Reading round the class. I remember those days. On Friday we have reading round the class. Kimberly Bloomer is the best. She sails slowly along the page like a great galleon, and everyone looks up and listens. "Beautiful reading, Kimberly dear," says Mrs. Scott, "and with such fluency, such feeling, it's a delight to hear." On Friday we have reading round the class. I'm the worst. I stumble and mumble along slowly like a broken down train, and everyone looks up and listens. Then they smile and snigger and whisper behind their hands. "Dear me," sighs Mrs. Scott. "Rather rusty, Simon. Quite a bit of practice needed, don't you think? Too much television and football, that's your trouble, and not enough reading." And she wonders why I don't like books. To be fair, I was one of the worst readers in class when I started English reading in, as a whole, sort of in class reading to the class. I was the worst because I was very nervous. Yet, you could put me on a stage in performing arts and it was completely different, I loved it. But reading in front of everyone, I was terrible. I was really terrible. Conversation at the school gates. "You boy, what? When you talk to your teacher, you'll say sir." "What, sir? What are you doing?" "Nothing, sir. Exactly nothing." "What? Sir? You say sir." "What, sir?" "You are doing nothing." "That's what I just said, sir." "Well, why are you just sitting on the wall then? Everyone else is in school working. I'm having a rest, sir." "Oh, you're having a rest, are you?" "That's right, sir." "What's your name?" "Darren." "Darren what?" "Sir." "No, no. What's your second name? Wayne. Your last name? Porter, sir. Now look here, Porter. I don't like your attitude at all. The bell has gone, everyone's in school, and you're sitting idly on the school wall, doing nothing. Furthermore, you're not in uniform. That's right, sir. Well, get into school, and I will see you in my room for detention at the end of the day. I can't, sir. Give me one good reason why you can't, Porter. I work over the road. I left this school last year. That's quite funny. The way I am. I'm just an ordinary sort of boy, not the centre of attention. The best of the bunch, apple of the teacher's eye, the one everyone remembers. I'm just the way I am. I'm just an ordinary sort of boy, not the high flyer, captain of the team, star of the school play, top of the class. It's just the way I am. I'm just an ordinary sort of boy, nothing special at all, run of the mill, fair to middling, no great shakes. It's just the way I am. I'm just an ordinary sort of boy, but I am not invisible. I do exist. I'm as different as anyone else. There's nobody like me. And to my family, I'm pretty special. So please, sir, please, miss, notice me sometimes. I am what I am. I'm going to leave this part here, guys, because I don't like to leave them too long, as you know. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. And many blessings.